What kind of pilot are you? I wanna know. I wanna know. I wanna know. What kind of pilot are you? I wanna know. I wanna know. I wanna know. What kind of pilot are you? I wanna know. I wanna know. I wanna know. What?
Welcome into the Sports Objective, our Pirate Playback, right here on a Sunday afternoon. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
What's going on, Dave?
Kyle from Grange, how are you?
What's going on, Dave?
Good, Bubba. How are you, man?
I'm doing fine. Hope y'all are.
And ladies and gentlemen, from the Pat Dyer era, from 1974 on until the present time, it's Terry Punk Gallagher. How are you, man?
Yeah, trying to get used to the 21st century technology here. But big question is, how's Kyle?
Oh man, still sick, dude. Still sick. I've been running a fever almost every night. I think I might have to go get another. I might have to go get another COVID test because I'm having trouble believing the sinus infection's got me this sick.
Wow. Hate to hear it. Hope everything gets better for you, but I'm sure the wind helped.
Yeah, it was good to win. I told you, Terry, last Saturday or Sunday we had a conversation that I thought their quarterback situation, I didn't know it was going to end up being as bad as it was, but I thought with Anthony Russo that we stood a really good chance to win that game, and they ended up in such a situation last. We really should have had the shutout. Unfortunately, they had a short field because of a turnover and got 3 points, or we'd have had our first shutout in 20 years.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that.
Yep.
Yeah, well, hey, guys, you always hear that you learn more from a loss than a win. Well, I'm tired of learning. It's good to win, Terry.
I think we need to learn from winning. What do you think, Bubba?
Absolutely. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I certainly agree. Obviously, winning beats losing anytime. There were definitely a lot of things that we need to improve on, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But one of my main takeaways from yesterday was, once again, we ran for well over 200 yards. And this is the 5th game this season that we've rushed for over 200, and the 5th time in the last 6 games that we've had a 100-yard rusher, as Keaton Mitchell had his second consecutive 100-yard performance.
Bob, is this surprising you with the way we're running the ball? How much we struggled the last couple of weeks? I mean, I know some of that's on the O-line, but there was times last week or this week where he had lots of time to pass, and just didn't get the ball off or didn't. I don't know. It just shocks me with the way we've been able to run the ball that our passing game. When we first established that run game, South Florida, Davie, Tulsa, you really saw Holton playing a lot more comfortable. And it seems the last few weeks that he's just not comfortable back there anymore.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think kudos to Coach Shank and just a tremendous offensive line coach, as we know, and we've seen firsthand time after time at East Carolina, in addition to the other places he's been. But I think that the first thing that's surprising is how well we've been able to run the ball, and given that Fernando Fry is the only one of our 5 offensive linemen, or 5 positions, I should say, that has started every single game this year. And the way we've had no continuity on the offensive line, but it's still managed outside of Tulane and Georgia State to run the ball so effectively, that's been impressive.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, the thing about the run, I've always said, I always would rather have the offensive line than the running backs. But let me tell you this, I also want a running back that can see the creases. And, by that, I mean, I don't want a running back that's got what he does, just run up into the backs of the offensive lineman. I like that running back who can not exactly. You're not just running in there blind. You're under control. You keep your shoulders square to the line of scrimmage, and when you see the crease, you go. You have that burst, and the big thing is, if you watch our running backs now, when they make a cut, they make that cut and they're gone. They're not just making two or three, trying to make 2 or 3 or 4 steps. It's just boom, boom, and there you go. And I coached a team one time in high school that we had a really good offensive line, and all we could do in the backfield was when we break into the open field, we'd gain 5 yards. So, in other words, we didn't have no speed. So that's where those guys. I've really been impressed with those running backs. It's always good to find kids like that. You hate it for the older kids, but at the same time, we got to get better, and I think you're seeing it on the offensive side with that portion of the game.
Yeah, Pete Mitchell and Harris are both doing a hell of a job running the football. One thing I want to know is you saw it. You saw a really nice pass play to Harris. We had a big gain yesterday. Keith Mitchell the week before. I want to know why we're not throwing it to our running backs more.
That's hard to it's hard to answer that unless you know a lot more about what's going on internally. For one thing, when you got 5 receivers or 4 receivers and a running back, there's only one football.
Yeah.
And today in our game today and in society in general, you got to spread that. You got to make sure all of them's happy, because with the situation we have now with the transfer portal and with the way they see things going, and what kids here away from the team, that's the tough part, and that's what you can't control. So to keep those guys all, but I ain't saying you just personally keeping them all satisfied, but you got to find ways to spread the ball around, and you got to take what the defense gives you. And again, too, we got to take what we can do. I always said, John Wooden, a great basketball coach, said, focus on what you can do, not what you can't do. Because a lot of times you spend all your time doing things you can't do. And whereas you should have gone ahead and done what you can do, and you get a better result.
Yeah,
but we still got to quit. We can't turn the ball over. We still got to quit turning the ball over.
Yeah, absolutely. But talking about what you can do when you got backs that can cut like both those guys that can make people miss, and you've seen the ability that they can catch the ball.
Right.
And anytime you throw it to them, they make big. So why aren't we doing it more? I just don't get that. Bubba, did you notice?
Yeah.
Did any of y'all notice how many pass attempts there were to the running back? I can only think of
there
one.
was some in the first
Harris.
half. Yeah, early on. In the first half, I remember that left side that Harris ran. I believe it was to the left side. He called a pass and had a nice play in the first or second quarter. But in the first half, I don't remember the second half. That's the only one I really remember vividly.
Yeah, so I can remember one pass to Harris.
That's all I can remember. But I mean, Bubba's the stats man, not me. But that's the only one I remember.
Yeah, I don't know how many attempts we had, but I know that Harris and Mitchell both had 1 reception.
Okay.
And like you said, Rajay went for 12 yards.
Yeah, and it almost went for more.
Right. Well, we got those guys that's got home run speed, and there again, I'd like to see them with the ball. And that's just a different way to get the ball to them, but if it's there, let's take it. And I can't give you a definitive answer on that one. But what I was interested in was the situation where we're getting ready to play the game, and all of a sudden we ain't playing the game.
Yeah, so, I can tell you what happened with that, Terry. That was a young lady called her boyfriend right before kickoff, said she had tested positive for COVID. He had been tested the day before, tested negative. They went and tested him again that morning. He tested positive. the conference determined that after talking to Temple, that they could isolate the players that he was around contact tracing. So it was 4 players that got pulled right before kickoff, and the conference said go ahead and play the game.
Mm-hmm. But and I've got one of my, I don't know, it's not directly related to the game, but with this situation and the protocols you're to follow according to your school, your state, your county, your city, then you got to have more support people now. You got to have people in the medical field. You got to have the tests. You got to have the test results. Who's paying for all this?
University and the conference. I think the conference is helping pay for a lot of it as far as the test. But the university is obviously paying their support staff and medical people. Yesterday, Mike Houston gave the game ball. Yesterday, Mike Houston gave the game ball to one of our team doctors. And by the way, hats off, knock on wood, because who knows what can happen, and it ain't really nobody's fault. But what a hell of a job our football team has done staying COVID free. So, we had some problems at the beginning, but to get every game in so far is it shows good leadership, not only from the coaches but at the player level. That there's good leadership on the team, and they're being smart, because it's shocking that we've gotten through our season with 1 game left, knock on wood, maybe 2 games left. There's rumors we may play on the 5th, and hadn't had any more COVID issues since the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm. Well, Coach Dye always preached, do the little things right. Take care of the little things. If you take care of the little things, the big things will take care of themselves. And what you've seen with Coach Houston from the very beginning, when he first came here, and we had the Independence Bowl party, and he was able to come visit, and I was impressed with how he is a guy that focuses on the little things. And by taking care of those things, you see what's happening. And again, leadership starts at the top. The whole, and each team gets its own identity by the players and the coaches and all of that particular year. But I think our team is really, every year teams struggle with finding their identity. But I think we're finding one, and I think it's based on winning, at least expectations of it. And as long as as long as we keep trust the process, then I'm really it's exciting to see, and we're going through these hard times, but I think it's going to be worth it.
Oh, yeah, hopefully. About it. I mean, you look at it right now. I mean, you have we hadn't beat them in 7 tries now. Finally, I mean, the 6 straight tries, and then this is the 7th time in the American. And just to think they had our number, including that 2014 game was a huge disaster in Philly with the Shane Carden. We're ranked 16th in the nation at the time, and that was rough. And it's been like they've had our numbers. So that was the one question I have for you guys. Going forward, what other teams do you think that will finally get the monkey off our back?
Going forward, do you finally? What was the end of that, Dave?
I'm saying going forward, what do you think about other teams that like UCF, other ones that we can get finally off our back?
Well, if we can have half their team out with COVID, we probably do pretty good about beating them. But no, it was no. All jokes aside, it was good to go to Philadelphia and win. That's 2 teams, South Florida and Temple, that's had our number, and we got 2 nice wins. It really should be 3 going back to that Tulsa game, but that is what it is. SMU's another one next week. We hadn't beat SMU in a while. 2015 was the last time we beat the Ponies. So we'll see what happens. They're a pretty good football team, but it's good to go to Philadelphia and win for the first time since '95, and win, beat them for the first time since they've been in the league. And guys, how we've gone this long and not talking about Tyler Snead. Tyler Snead yesterday had a day. Kickoff return for a touchdown. Does the Lincoln leap into the stands after the touchdown, kickoff return.
Can we say he's been overlooked?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I had to make a short joke. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's pretty good there. And,
I know that feeling. And then
the touchdown reception where he was open down the middle of the field for the big touchdown catch, and had some other big plays in the game. Great game by Tyler Snead. And one thing I noticed after the game was pretty much the entire damn Temple team. I don't know if you guys were watching after. He was surrounded by Temple players, patting him on the helmet and slapping him on the ass and shaking his hand. And that was a lot of respect from the Temple players to Snead after that game.
Mm-hmm. Now, overall yesterday, how many drop passes did we have?
There was one that I don't know, but there was one Josiah Hatfield guys had. I think it was the third or fourth quarter. There was it looked like he was running before he caught the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw that. There was an obvious catch.
Yeah, Hatfield had a drop. I don't know overall. I can tell you that Holton missed a couple of wide open receivers a couple times. But
that one of the second half, he had the pro guys was Pro would have had a touchdown if he'd had it on the money.
Yeah. And there was a couple passes like that. As far as drop passes, that's a good question. I don't know how many drop passes we had. It's a good question, though.
It just seemed like we caught the ball better, even though I don't think we threw it as much. But still, it don't do no good to throw it if you're not going to catch it. So, because again, there's only one football. And, I used to always, as a coach, emphasize that to the guys who touch the football in the game, because I'm not sure how many people are aware, but football is the only team sport where you have guys that play their whole career and never touch the ball.
Yeah.
So what I always tried to instruct the backs and receivers, quarterbacks, is you want to play over here, you get to take care of something that's really special, and that's the football. Because on each play, that ball's going to draw a lot of attention, and you have to have control of it. And if you're not going to take control of it, then we need somebody else that will, because you only get a certain amount of plays in a game, and therefore you need to make them all count. And it's real simple. You want to play in the backfield? Don't fumble. It looks like that people teach the way the ball is gripped different now than the way we used to. They tend to have the ball higher up, then just put their hand on top of the ball. Whereas we taught two hands over the point, whereas your body, you got the ball into your chest with each end of the ball covered. And I don't know. I'm an old guy now, so I get to say things like this. But anyway, that's something you got to. You got to really want the ball, and sometimes I think that's something you can't be complacent with the football. That's all I'm saying, I guess. So.
Some of the other things that really stood out to me, we talked about the running game. Kyle, you referenced Tyler Snead. Tyler Snead, that 95-yard kickoff return came right after Temple got a field goal after a turnover when we threw that pick, and they returned it to the red zone or right outside of the red zone. And so that was nice to see us respond so quickly and take a 2-score lead. And then it was still 14-3 there late in the half in the final minute, or just outside of the final minute. I think maybe about a minute 10 left. And Temple was looking like they were going to make it a 1-score game, either 14-6 or 14-10. And Sean Dorso came up with a huge pick on the fade route. And then, 20 seconds later and 2 plays later, we had gone 80 yards and and Holton hooked up with Tyler Sneed wide open in the middle of the field to make it 21-3. And then we came out our second possession of the second half, and Holton had the big 75-yard run. And so we always talk about that middle 8 or middle 10, and we won that 14-0 yesterday, and also took away a scoring opportunity for them. So like a 17 to 21 point swing.
Yeah, that was huge. The interception and then followed by the touchdown to Sneed was huge. A huge sequence of events in the game, because it went from feeling like this is going to be relatively close at halftime to you felt like it was pretty much a blowout. It was 21-3, and you had missed 2 scoring opportunities earlier with a missed field goal and a blocked field goal. So getting that pick there and then hitting Sneed over the middle, and bam, instead of it being a 14-6 or a 14-10 game, it's 21-3, and I really felt like we didn't need to score again. I told Jessica that time when it was 21-3 at the half, I said we probably aren't going to have to score again to win the game, and we scored once more, but we didn't have to.
Yeah. You could tell Temple was struggling offensively, and they couldn't throw the ball. So it really did. The kickoff return, I thought, really changed the momentum of the game, and I never really felt like we were going to lose, throughout the game. It was one of those. It may be 14-3, but it's not feeling like it's that close, because we already had 2 other scoring opportunities and only got 3 out of it. So.
Well, I was worried when we had the blocked field goal, then the missed field goal, and then
we did. We didn't get any points. I'm sorry.
And then Temple was driving, and I kind of felt like this could be a close game. Thankfully it wasn't.
Right. Yeah, for most. And you guys I dropped out for a moment. I lost the volume with you guys, but you may have said this. If I did, if you did, I apologize. But y'all were talking about the first part of the game. We had excellent field position. I think maybe our first 4 drives were like the plus 40. Excuse me, not plus 40. The minus 40 or better, and we didn't take advantage of it, like you guys were alluding to with the field goal issues. And in addition to the field goal issues, something that really jumped out as I was looking through the numbers is we had 16 offensive possessions yesterday, and only one of those 16 possessions was longer than 2 minutes and 21 seconds. So
we were hitting big plays.
That talked about the 3 touchdown drives which were a result of big plays, and all of those drives being not really drives, even like 4 plays or less, and then those other times a lot of 3, 4, 5 plays and punts. So we got to play much more consistently, more like we did against Tulsa if we're going to have a chance against SMU.
Yeah, and there's no reason when you can run the ball like we've been able to, there's no reason we shouldn't be having consistent drives. You can run the ball like that. It should take all the pressure off the quarterback, and Holton just needs to relax and go through his motions, and the receivers need to get open for him. But when we're able to run the ball like we are, right, I just don't understand why we haven't had a better passing game, particularly this week. And in the second half, we didn't throw it a lot.
It looks like he's trying to. It looks like, guys, he's trying to do too much. But like yesterday, for example, I understand about the defensive and offensive lines are still very good, but we were lead. We had the lead for the most part of the game, and halftime on, and he still didn't seem to be as relaxed as I thought he would be having that kind
of. And to be fair, in the second half, he wasn't given a lot of passing opportunities. We were handing it off. Once we got up 28-3, it was handoff. But in the first half, he just, I don't know, he hit a couple of nice passes, but he missed some things that should have been there. And hopefully next week against SMU, we'll be able to continue to run the ball, but we'll have a better passing game and have a chance to pull off the upset.
A guy that we haven't talked about much this year, he's been pretty consistent, and that's punter John Young. I talked about punting a little more than we would have liked yesterday. He punted 7 times, averaged more than 42.5 yards per attempt, and had one 57-yarder, which was one of 3 times he pinned the Owls inside their 20-yard line.
Yeah, we have 2 good punters. Him and the Aussie are both pretty good punters. So that's one position that we're pretty well set. I tell you what, going back to when Logan was here in that Virginia Tech game, and we lost because we didn't have a punter. I like having two good punters.
Oh, there's no question. It's another example of where we're building depth. And you look at place kicking. I think Bubba, isn't that kid? I think he's a sophomore. Patrick Nation's pretty good.
Yeah, Patrick Nation's very highly regarded.
Yeah, that was one good recruit that Montgomery definitely got was Patrick Nation. So.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with all the block kicks this year. We've had quite a few block field goals this year.
Yeah, I know. Early in the year, Kyle. Remember, we heard about Jake Verity battling some type of injury. I don't know if this stems from that or just inconsistent performance.
Yeah, I don't know, but it needs to stop.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. I mean, if you miss a field goal, you miss a field goal, but repeatedly having field goals blocked just really bothers me.
Well, I'm not sure. You have to look at the film better, but as far as the the trajectory of the kick, especially on a longer kick, you need to. It's not as high of a trajectory as you would as a shorter kick, but I don't know. Maybe I'd have to see the blocking too, and it's just odd that all of a sudden he's having all these kicks blocked. You're right.
Yeah, it is. And speaking of block field goals and all, non-ECU, but how about Liberty last night? You know, they had the block kick. They had the block kick against Virginia Tech, which Virginia Tech ended up calling a timeout, and they got to kick it again to beat Virginia Tech. And then last night, the Wolfpack beats Liberty on a block field goal. So I just thought that was interesting.
Does anybody find it ironic that Hugh Freeze is the head coach at Liberty?
Well, you know what? They forgive Terry. They're very religious there, and so they forgive.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll take it.
You know what? He's a hell of a football
He's a great coach.
He's a hell of a football coach, and the cheating stuff, the recruiting stuff, he ended up finding out that he ended up being cleared from that. What he got fired for was he wasn't smart enough to use a burner phone. He was calling escort. He was calling escort. Used his damn cell phone.
Yeah.
So
I'd like to see their roster though to see where a lot of the players came from.
I don't know, but he's a heck of a football coach. I would imagine about a month from now he'll be making his home in Columbia, South Carolina.
I didn't know he got fired till today.
No, he actually he's not going to take that job.
You're his agent, Dave?
No, but
Dave because of what Damian sort of let say.
What did Damian sort of let say?
Is this breaking news?
He was saying the people that he talked to there in the program said that Hugh Freeze was not going to South Carolina. That's not the job he wanted.
Okay, well, we'll see if he wants about $5 million.
Let me ask you a question. If you, and I said this on Thursday night, you're in South Carolina. They've had Steve Spurrier. They've had Lou Holtz. They've had a whole bunch of coaches. They have a whole bunch of money, and they still can't beat Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Auburn. There's a whole bunch of programs they can't beat. So why would you go to a program? He's happy. He's getting $3 million a year. So you go to $5 million where after a while the fans turn against you and they want you fired. You put a for sale sign in your yard. Why would you go there?
Why would you go there? Well, first of all, do you believe in yourself? Because if you believe in yourself, you don't give a damn if Steve Spurrier or Lou Holtz has been there because you think you're better than them. And second, $5 million a year is a pretty good reason to go. And I don't know, maybe you will stay at Liberty. But I think to flat out say he's not going to South Carolina it would make you what was that dude that used to be on Johnny Carson that was the psychic?
Carney.
Carney, yeah.
Unless you're Carney the Magnificent, I wouldn't say that I wouldn't say for sure he's not going to South Carolina. Now you're right. Liberty does pay him almost $3 million a year with the latest raise, which is unbelievable. But
well, have you? How many of y'all have been to Columbia, South Carolina?
I have, but it's been a while.
Let's see. It's hard to recruit people to play there. Because you got Clemson, who's playing for a championship every year. Okay, you got Georgia, the SEC school, Florida. Let's see, Coastal the beaches. Carolina. Yeah, Coastal Carolina is, a little different situation. Plus, of course, money has gotten involved. But I don't think South Carolina has ever been able to overall recruit like the rest of the ACC, SEC schools in that area do.
How many conference championships have they won, guys?
Well, that's the thing. It's hard. They get some great players now. You look at through the past few years, they've had some great players, but as far as putting them together as a team, I don't think you've ever seen them collectively like that. Now, also, some of those coaches you mentioned, they were kind of retreads there toward the end when they coached at South Carolina.
Yep.
Oh, gosh. But, South Carolina and East Carolina, we were both independent at the same time in the late 70s. And look where they wound up. Look where we are.
Yeah.
Very, very quickly, kind of going in a different direction. Something I wanted to chime in with because the young man's name was escaping me earlier as far as the place kicking situation behind Jake Verity. In addition to Patrick Nations, I believe second on the depth chart right now, it's actually Owen Daffer. He is a freshman out of New Hanover High School down in Wilmington.
Oh, right down here where I live. I go by that school every day.
I hear he's a dapper young man.
He dresses very well. Well, what about
and guys? Defensively, which is something we really hadn't talked that much about. Yes, Temple's quarterback situation was what it was, and when you're predictable, like they had to be yesterday, due to that, that did make our defense's job a lot easier. But they still had to go out there and stop the run, which at times, we've really struggled to do, especially in the recent history. So kudos to them for going out forcing 3 turnovers. That was just the second time this year that we have won the turnover battle, and both times have been in our win. The only time this year that we have not turned the ball over was the win over South Florida.
And how about the great? You talked about the defensive play. I love the defense. And Bruce Bivens, the linebacker, had a great game, guys. He was really awesome. And the commentators kept talking about how when he put a hit on you, that the analyst yesterday.
Yeah, Bruce Bivens played well. Chris Willis played well. Xavier Smith played well.
Yeah, our linebacker play has been much improved, and it's really sagged in recent years. But our linebacker play is significantly improved, and Bruce Bivens had 11 tackles and a pick yesterday. And then also, Kyle, you mentioned Xavier Smith. He had 9 tackles, and Jair Wilson continues to impress. He had 8.
Yeah, and I thought Chris Willis made some good plays too early.
He did.
If we can get some improvement, I know we have the depth down more of them. But the defensive line is where we really, if we can get that going, then we could have a really good defense.
Yeah, line's young, with the exception of Willis, the transfer from App State. Besides that, the O-line or the D-line is really young. So hopefully this year will give them some experience and continue to develop depth there.
Well, too, how many of the players that we have on defense have played in the same defensive scheme or had the same coaching staff for more than a year? We've had a lot of turnover on defense.
Yeah, we have.
Mm-hmm.
And we're playing a lot of young guys on that side of the ball. And
I like the attitude that our defense is showing. I think we have we just seem to be more aggressive on defense than we had been.
Hey,
And,
Terry, I'm sorry, Terry. I thought you were done. Go ahead.
No, well, I was just going to say, and except secondary wise, we look to be playing a little more over the top defense and not allowing just straight man to man, where if you miss the tackle, he goes 80 yards, and that's good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're talking about defensively. You do notice a little bit of a swagger, obviously. New defensive backs coach or cornerbacks coach, because obviously Trip Weaver coaches the safeties, but those two guys really have the defensive backs bought into the shark mentality. And you saw even Tyler Snead was doing it on the offensive side of the ball, and then special teams when he had the kickoff return, holding the fin up to his forehead.
I don't think I would have done that.
Well, guys,
Fire.
what about
like a bad movie?
Guys, what about
Sharknado?
Guys, I know there was a rumor. I want to see if you guys. I know we talked about it off air, but are you guys hearing about the Hilltoppers, Western Kentucky, coming into Dowdy Ficklin? Are we going there for the 10th game? What are you guys hearing?
All I've heard, I don't know if you've heard more than me. All I heard was the one rumor from one person. Do we have anything else confirmed?
I have no idea.
I just heard that that's a possibility in Western Kentucky.
David, did you hear it?
Go ahead.
I was going to ask Dave, did he hear it from the same place that you and I heard it?
Yeah, that was what I was asking about, because I know.
Well, that just came from one person. I wouldn't call that a hot rumor just yet. We need some better confirmation. Bubba or Dave, did either one of you guys find out where he heard it from?
Unspecified source, but I will say that I did, after hearing that, check, and Western Kentucky, for what it's worth, is open on December 5th. And I know you, Kyle, and this is more along the lines of what I was thinking. I was expecting to maybe hear EKU instead of WKU, but WKU would be great.
Yeah, Ryan Robinson had made a statement sounding like we were definitely going to play somebody that week, and then Coach Houston on the coach's show basically said he didn't think we were. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's you got two totally different statements there in a week from Ryan Robinson and from Coach Houston. So I have no idea.
I would.
I
would like to play. I'd like to play a 10th game. I think that would be good, especially gives us another home game. I would imagine. Is it a home game, guys, or what do you think?
I don't know. That's a good question. If it's Western Kentucky, if it's a situation where they can come here for just travel costs, and we can give them a return game down the road, then that would probably be more advantageous than playing an FCS and paying them. Or if we're going to Kentucky, then it won't cost us anything except travel costs.
They're 5-5 right now.
Yeah, I think we can beat them. I've watched them play several times. They're 5-5, but they got no offense. None at all.
Yeah, according to what I see, it said 4-6, but they have won their last two over Southern Miss and FIU, both of which are struggling this year.
Yeah.
The BYU beat them. UAB beat them.
Which one is it?
Marshall beat them, and Liberty beat them, and Louisville beat them. So is that 6?
Yeah, they're 4-6.
4-6. Look, I was a history teacher, not math.
You went to East Carolina, I won't forgive you.
Do they have an FCS win?
Oh my goodness!
They really, really struggled offensively. Yes, they beat Chattanooga.
Southern Miss
13-10.
Okay, so
FIU, they beat FIU.
No, I said FCS. Okay, so
I'm sorry.
My guess is they're trying to get to 6-6, and they're looking to schedule one FCS game and then and then one more FBS game because they can only count 2 FCS games. So that's definitely possible.
Yeah, they play Charlotte this week.
Okay,
is that an FCS game? I'm kidding. It's a joke.
I can't keep up with some of them.
I know Kyle loves Charlotte so much. I don't want to talk
at this point,
Charlotte.
some people would feel like we were about like an FCS team.
Now, wait a minute. Now, this is family. Now, come on.
I'm just kidding.
You better be glad I can't grab you and throw you down on the floor.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that would be well. The great thing about it is if somehow you can beat SMU at home, and you have Western Kentucky, guys, that would get us at 4 and 6. And maybe have some outside shot that we could go to a bowl.
Well, I'll tell you this: I wouldn't count on that Western Kentucky thing until I hear it from better sources. Not taking anything away from who we heard it from. I'm just saying more credible. Not you guys know what I'm saying. Hopefully he does too. I would expect we would hear that this week. If we're going to play them, we should hear that this week.
I felt that was you read my mind, Kyle. That was one of the questions I was going to ask you guys. You would have to think that you have to go ahead and announce it because the team's got to get here. You wouldn't do it a few days before the game.
No, once you're secure that you're going to play SMU, and that game's not going to have to be made up, I would think you would make that announcement. So it could even be as late as Friday, but I would think we would know if we're going to play it. I think you'd hear the announcement by Friday.
All right, so we'll keep our eyes out on that. And what about some other? Do you have some more ECU stuff, or do you want to talk about some other games around the nation?
I mean, well, we touched on the Liberty game with NC State. Wolfpack with the big win last night. Rutgers unfortunately lost to Michigan in double overtime. I was disappointed to see that. I was hoping Rutgers could upset the Wolverines.
And how about Indiana? Indiana almost did it yesterday, 42-35. Almost doesn't count, but that program's come a long ways.
Yeah, Indiana's good. Almost beating Ohio State, and they would have made themselves a playoff contender had they done that. Best Indiana football team since I've been alive. And a couple other games of note.
The Wisconsin got beat.
Yeah, Northwestern's really good too.
What's their record?
They lost
Wisconsin. Yeah,
I believe that was their first loss.
That was their first loss, right?
Yeah, they lost.
How many wins?
Oh, they haven't played that many games yet because when the Big Ten started, so it was something like.
Are they going?
Now.
Are they going to rank them ahead of Cincinnati?
No. Cincinnati.
Ohio State will be.
Huh?
I'm just this year, the rankings, the way things are going, and with the games, the way they're being played, you don't know if teams have full rosters. 53, I think, is what you have to have, right, to play.
Yeah, I believe so.
Mississippi State played Georgia, and I think they were under the 53-man. They got a waiver to play with less players. So
no, the playoff rankings don't come out till this week. So let's see how they vary from the AP poll and the coaches poll. Cincinnati beat UCF last night. Great game. So the Bearcats are still undefeated. So they still have a shot. Coastal beat App. That was another big game. Coastal beat Appalachia. So I don't know. When the rankings come out tomorrow, or is it tomorrow or Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday when the playoff rankings come out. I would expect to see Cincinnati I wouldn't be. They will not be in the top 4. But I would not be surprised to see them higher than 7. I wouldn't be surprised to see them 5 or 6.
Well, they were 6th, right, and got backed up to 7. So
I think at some point you're going to have to look at the amount of games played and take
that's
that.
right.
I mean, when you got a team playing 7 or 8 games, and then you got a team playing 12 games, and Cincinnati, if they play the conference championship game, they'll be either 11-0 or 12-0 if they go undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see how you can ignore that, but we'll see.
But I bet it will be ignored.
Yeah, you definitely could be right. But
yeah, I hate that.
Yeah, we had a lot of great
games. We know, of course, Dave wants to see somebody else in the playoffs.
So Clemson, didn't they postpone?
They did, yeah. FSU kind of made that call, from what I understand.
It was kind of a last-minute deal too, it
was.
And yeah, so I think there's going to be a wrench thrown into just about every.
Well, what I'm wondering, Terry, with the COVID cases going up like they are nationwide, and with Thanksgiving coming, and I think after Thanksgiving, the next 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, I think it's going to be ridiculous with the amount of COVID cases. I'm wondering if the bowl season gets played. I think they'll find a way to play the playoff games, but I'm really wondering if the full bowl season gets played as planned, with the amount of COVID cases. So
we'll see. They even have. I mean, it could be guys. It could be even with the playoff that they. Have you heard that thing about how they might not replace a team if you have a situation where the final 4, and then they're going to try to postpone it, but then if there's COVID cases, they could have only 3 teams.
Yeah, that's interesting. I thought about that, and I don't know. I think you either delay the playoff or you have the next team up take their place.
Yeah, I think that's really lame. I think you definitely have to have 4 teams.
That's crazy. So is it a true national champion?
Right. In other words, what you need to do.
Well, if you got somebody getting a bye to the championship game, then I would say no.
I can't see how you can call it even if things finish as they are today. I don't see how you can call anybody a true national champion this year.
Because of
too many variables.
Right.
Too many. Well, and there's such a discrepancy between protocol with the virus situation. It just don't make sense.
Well, I heard an ESPN announcer say yesterday about Cincinnati making the playoffs. They said, well, they don't have the quality wins. I said, well, how the hell do you know? There's been no non-conference games hardly. How do you know? There's nothing to measure it against. There's only been a handful of non-conference games.
Minnesota has played 1 game.
That's the whole point is that
Minnesota's played more than 1 game.
I thought they said that there was somebody whose game yesterday was the first game.
It wasn't Minnesota.
Okay.
They're about week 3, 2 or 3 games at least, I would think. In
the it sounded good in my head. Okay. Jeez. Details, facts. Why are y'all worrying about facts? Good.
Yeah, I don't know, Terry. We'll just let you say whatever you want to.
There you go. I sold my house.
Oh, great!
Congratulations.
Absolutely. We went back to Georgia Thursday, Friday. We sold it. Went to high school. I got to see high school football Friday night.
All right.
Well, the good news,
it was live. But the high schools in Georgia, you wouldn't believe what they have to go through now to get a game played. So it is incredible the expectations that fans have still about winning and losing. it just don't connect with the actual situation. And that's why I say we are so blessed to have the coaching staff,
Yes,
the
we
situation we have, and it's a great day to be a Pirate. How about that?
It is, guys. I tell you what, when you look at the good news is, I remember my coach used to tell us in baseball, high school baseball, he said, if I can lose with seniors, I can lose with sophomores. Well, the good news for us is we have the Terry Gallagher rule, Kyle, where you get an extra year of eligibility. You can play as long
You play till you just get tired of playing.
So all these guys are still going to have an extra year of eligibility. Some of them I know will have. One in particular, I can't think of his name, is already declared for the draft. So for East Carolina, you wonder how many. That's one final thing. We'll wrap this thing up. How many guys do you think will stay, and how many do you think will? It depends on the individual player, I know, but do you, the guys think it's going to be a lot of guys are going to leave and go into other things, or potentially the NFL or somewhere else?
Well,
Well,
think about
we don't have a lot of seniors. I don't know very many seniors we really want to come back. I mean, being honest, Chris Willis, I think if we can get him for another year, that'd be good. I would say for us, I don't even know how many seniors are on this team, and it ain't many. I would say the majority of our seniors. I would say the majority of our seniors will go ahead and graduate.
Well, my question, my concern now is what's it going to do to the total number of scholarships you have each year?
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Because you're going to have obviously next year you're going to double a class that you previously didn't have, which is going to affect the incoming groups for the next 3 years?
2 or 3
Two?
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, NCAA is going to have to make a rule on expanding the scholarship limit. My guess is this whole thing's going to be revisited. And
of course, there's also going to be free agency.
Yeah.
How many's going to transfer?
My guess is this whole thing's going to be revisited, and it's going to end up only applying to seniors and freshmen. That's just my theory.
So one school can have 90 on scholarship and another have 85?
No, they're going to have across the board limit, and then it's just going to be up to the school. Whether it's 90 or 95, they're just going to have to increase the limit, and then it's going to be up to the school if they want to pay for those extra scholarships.
Then that's where money comes in, because more scholarships, more money, and more, just more and more stuff.
Absolutely.
Oh Lord! If we can't find a reason to have a chip on our shoulder, then I don't know what else to do.
There's plenty of reasons to do it, no doubt about it, and I'm just happy that a guy like you look at a guy like Tyler Snead. He's going to be a Terry Gallagher. His size, and also I think he's going to end up with about 6 years. You had not transfer. You had the redshirt freshman rule, only 4 games. You have so he played 4 games, but he didn't have to count that year. And now
he could be a 6-year player. Yeah,
I think he's a 6-year player altogether.
He'll be a 6. Yeah.
Well, it depends. Again, rules can be revised, guys. Just keep in mind.
But you sometimes you have to grandfather in what you already did.
Sure.
I mean, and also his stock value in the next couple of years could go up, where he says, I'm going to what would technically be his senior year with this plan.
I don't think Dave. I don't think Snead's got a future in the NFL. I could be wrong, but I doubt that.
Never say never.
Yeah,
I never say never.
His speed, I don't know.
Well, look at Danny Whitehead.
I think he'll get a shot. I'm not saying he's a Hall of Famer or many years, but I do really believe he has a shot at it. I really do. But
I think his size is going to make it very difficult.
Well, Wes Welker. I mean, he played. I mean, for the Patriots and the.
I hope to God he does get in the NFL. But he's a hell of a college football player.
Well, Tyler's he's pretty tall for his height.
But maybe they could. I don't know. In the squeeze, I don't know. But he's definitely lightning fast. And you look at special teams, he could play there. Maybe practice squad. There's all kind of places he could go. And Terry, he could go north of the border of the CFL.
There you go.
Who knows? So, but again, there's a lot of football for him before that we get to that point where we're evaluating that. But we'll see. And I think it would be best for, and it's not my decision, but I think Holton. It'd be good to have him an extra year for his personal sake, but also for the team's sake. But we'll see how that plays out. And then it's good that if you have a kid like Garcia, he gets an extra year.
Yeah.
So as far as the quarterback position, you're not like making the kid wait an extra year when he gets an extra year too. So, but it'll be interesting to see and to play out. And guys, what are your early thoughts on, before we go, one more shot? We have SMU this Saturday, by the way, high noon on ESPN Plus. Dowdy Ficklin, I'm sure the fans are going to be down to still 7%. I didn't get invited in, so I won't be there, but I know that there'll be fans rocking and rolling, and they're still loud. Pirate fans are loud. But what are your early thoughts on the game? I'll send it to both of you, and then we'll get out of here.
SMU's a good football team, got a good passing game. We're going to have to play really well.
Great quarterback.
We're going to have to get pressure on them. We're not going to stop them. They're going to score. If you can just minimize it, you can hold them to 40, and then we can have our best offensive day of the year. Their defense isn't great. I think we can beat them, but we're going to have to play our best game. But I do think we can beat them.
Well, they're coming off the Tulane game. Did their quarterback get didn't he get shaken up or hit pretty good or something?
Well, they were out. They were off this week. They were supposed to play Houston, but because of COVID, the game didn't get played.
Well, and so I think we'll play well. I really believe that. I think the guys will be happy to be home, and I think you'll see. I think we'll do well. I'm optimistic.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is Udon Cheek, assistant track and field coach at East Carolina University. You are plugged into the Sports Objective Podcast. If you are a fan, you are plugged into the right place. And if you're really a fan, you will share that link. My heart is purple and gold. I'm a pirate down to my soul. And I don't back down at it all. Find out when the cannons explode. Boom! Got a question. What kind of pirate are you? I wanna know. I wanna know. I wanna know. What kind of pirate are you? I wanna know. I wanna know. I wanna know. What kind of pirate are you? I wanna know. I wanna know. I wanna know. What kind of pirate are you? I wanna know. I wanna know. I wanna know. I'm the kind of pirate that'll call a pirate out. What you claiming pirate for if y'all ain't gonna shout?